The current president of the United States of America is Donald J. Trump. A man who has a cameo in Home Alone 2. A man who has wrestled Vince McMahon and shaved his head. The guy who would host the Miss America pageants. A man who was a frequent associate of Don King and Jesse Jackson at boxing matches. Donald J. Trump.
Donald John Trump.
Right. A man who once had a sketch he did with George Lopez where they exchanged jokes about Mexicans and rich people. He's president now. He's actually the president of the United States. He's in the White House. He sets policy.
You're awake, by the way.
Where's that Rachel Maddow?
You're not having a terrible dream. Also, you're
This is
not
not a dream. This is your life now. This is reality.
This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country. It's real.
Do we have any media reviews we'd like to make?
So I'm still going to put off my, I think I'm going to put off my Irishman review because I said this last time, but I want to rewatch it again before I review it. Like I want it to be really fresh, and I forgot all about that, so I haven't watched it in the last 2 weeks. Two things I'll review that I just saw. One is the movie Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman. And it's a movie from the 70s. The basic plot of it is his brother, Roy Schneider from Jaws, is a spy of some kind, some sort of secret agent. And he's working for Laurence Olivier, who is an escaped Nazi war criminal who has a cache of diamonds. He can feel the heat closing in on him, and he's going to eliminate all of the spies and couriers he's been using to sell his diamonds to live lavishly. And he becomes convinced that this spy might have given information to his brother, Dustin Hoffman, who's just a college student. And so now Dustin Hoffman it's one of those, the wrong man kind of movies where he's caught up in this thing where he's being chased by these Nazis and spies, and they think he has information that he doesn't have. And it's actually very good. It's a good thriller. There's a really good scene where Laurence Olivier tortures him with dental instruments to get him to reveal information that he doesn't even know what he's talking about. It's good. It's a good, nice paranoid movie that I think any libertarian would enjoy. Another good movie I just saw was The Night of the Hunter, which is a 50s, I guess you'd call it a horror movie. I don't know. It was definitely one of the scary movies I've ever seen. Very chilling type of movie about Robert Mitchum is a sort of a priest, or a preacher, but he might not actually be. He might just be crazy. And he's a serial killer. And he decides he's going to marry a widow to try to kill her and steal money that her husband had hidden somewhere on her property. And when her children escape with the money, he tries to track them down and kill them. It's really, it's a rare movie that is like, it's from the 50s, so there are times of it where you'll kind of roll your eyes, but it's actually funny and scary and just creepy, and like it's full of dread, that movie, but it's very well done. So those are two movies I've recently seen that I would recommend to people. I'm sure Marcel has some Netflix show he wants to plug.
Not really. I did finish watching Altered Carbon, season 2. Let me just say, season 2, absolutely awful. Don't watch it. I mean, watch season 1. Season 1 was great. Highly recommend it. And then just stop. Otherwise, your experience will be worsened from watching Altered Carbon season 2. It will actually sully the memory of the first one.
I think I might have even said this last episode, but I'm going to keep saying it till the quarantine's over. Watch John Carpenter's The Thing. It is like the perfect quarantine movie because it is about this group of people. It's one of the best movies ever. One of the reasons that I didn't even realize until it was pointed out to me, there's not a single woman in the whole cast. And I'm not even kidding. Someone pointed that out, and I was like, holy shit, that might be why this movie is so good. It's a great movie for men. And it's just about all these men in Antarctica, stranded, and they're battling some alien virus. It's not literally a virus, but it acts similar to a virus. And it can assume their shape. So they don't know which one of them is infected and who's real and who's not. And like the walls are closing in on them. And I've seen it before, but watching it again. Yeah. The walls are closing in. It's a daily bombshell. And watching it during quarantine, even if you've already seen it, just watch it during all this and you'll really see it takes on a new meaning and importance. And it's a perfectly made film. It's John Carpenter's best movie.
Yes. How could I forget Tiger King?
Ugh.
So, Dan, you strike me as the kind of person who's proudly never watched the Tiger King documentary.
I watched Tiger King reluctantly, and I gotta say, I just think it's way overhyped.
It is a little bit overhyped. I heard a lot of people talk about, like, oh man, Tiger King was super duper crazy. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, I mean,
it's a Dr. Phil episode mixed with a
Maury,
Jerry Springer and Maury and all that.
Yeah. It's just. It
was like Maury meets or Jerry Springer meets Animal Planet.
Yes, I mean, I enjoyed watching it. It was a nice way to piss away a day. It must be nice to have all the time in the world. It was a nice way to piss away a day. Given that the primary way that we share this podcast is by just linking it on Facebook and such, you've all probably heard of it already. It features a man who basically he runs a tiger zoo, and he has this crazy personality. It kind of reminds me of Get Me Roger Stone just a little bit. Actually, it has a few similarities. One of which is that this crazy, degenerate, drug-using, gay cowboy with a mullet ran as a libertarian for governor. Of course. So there's that.
As soon as I saw the first episode, I said, "Oh, he's going to run for governor as a libertarian."
Yes, and I'm actually friends with his campaign manager on Facebook. I wasn't before, but I had mutual friends with him. I was like, "Of course." So that was that.
Yeah. It's a small world.
Yeah, and it ends with the guy going to jail. I don't want to say for what, but I have reason to. I mean, the documentary gives a few reasonable doubts, so I have reasonable doubt that he's guilty. But what's funny is Donald Trump said that he would look into it.
Yeah, but he says that about everything. We're doing a lot about a lot.
Trump, because the guy got 22 years, and Donald Trump Jr. said he watched it, and he says, I think that was excessive, and I think he should be pardoned. And then Donald Trump was asked about an interview, and Donald Trump said, which one of my sons said that? It was Don, wasn't it? Sounds like him. And of course he was right.
Is that what he said? I don't know. I know nothing.
And then said, I don't really know what he's in for, but I'll look into it. And what I know I'll look into it is code word from Trump. I'll look into it means I'm not going to do anything. But I like to imagine that I'll look into it. In his case, means I'll sit down and watch a documentary.
Yeah. We're doing a lot about a lot.
All right. And so after that, I have no particular recommendations. So, Dan, if you have nothing else, I'm Marcel.
Oh, and I'm Dan.
And this is The Moral Minority. Cue Richard Nixon.
Let us be united for peace. Let us also be united against defeat.
Simpler times. When I was poor, we had a station wagon up on blocks in the driveway. We'd smash out the windows with a brick and then call it our summer house. Simpler times.
Simpler times. When I was poor, my penthouse apartment had a partially obstructed view of Central Park. Simpler times.